multiple screens going. Our inspirational speaker is the one and only Connie Whitesell. And Connie is the owner of Scattered to Streamline Business Coaching, as well as one of the co-founders of Grow. She is dedicated to helping solo business owners and sales professionals bring their scattered ideas into focus and streamline them into actionable plans, systems, and habits. Her approach is centered around optimizing productivity and profitability, empowering her clients to achieve their goals with greater speed and efficiency. Time, which she will be talking about today, is our most valuable resource, and Connie will be sharing with us strategies for taming the clock to unlock the potential for greater productivity, success, and revenue. So with that, thank you, Connie, for joining us today and sharing wisdom.
Happy to have the opportunity to be with you all. I don't like to be just a talking head up here for these. I really like to have some involvement here. So I'm going to ask you right off the bat to please raise your hand, your real hand, not your Zoom hand, if you can relate to any of these statements. All right. First one is you'd love to have more time in your schedule to focus more. Oh, right away, no matter what it is, just more time. Yes, I love it. So to focus more, whether it be on family or friends or hobbies or fun time outside of work, right? Keep those hands up. Or maybe you'd love to have more control over your schedule. So if unexpected things pop up, like a client or a customer emergency, illness in the family, right? We've had a lot of people dealing with this or themselves, last minute opportunities, even to just join a friend for lunch, right? So you can just roll with it and not feel stressed. Or maybe you feel the other way, like family or personal issues. Maybe you'd like them to calm down a little bit so you could focus more on work. Or maybe sometimes you just feel overwhelmed and too busy during the week with all you're responsible for. All right, so I saw different hands come up at different times. Maybe some of you do have complete control over your schedule, but I have to say that most people, and particularly here, like our group we have here, business owners, professionals, feel this way, even if it's just from time to time. I personally, I teach this stuff and I experience this. Even as recently as just early April, I completely overcommitted myself work-wise, and I bumped up to burnout phase until I took a step back and course corrected. So as a business coach, as Jennifer had shared, I focus on helping my clients create those plans and roadmaps for success and support them in implementing those plans so they reach their goals. And in doing this, what I see is that people are really good at creating their business growth plans when they take the time to do that. And for the most part, business owners know what they need to do marketing-wise to grow their businesses. I bet you all do too. But what's often missing is the time to actually do these activities or to do them on a consistent basis or on an ongoing basis, right? So they can implement those great plans, take care of the marketing, get the word out about your business. And that's why in working with my clients, we focus not just on the marketing, which is of course very important, but also on personal management, that management of self. And that means being as productive, as focused, and on top of your time or your schedule as possible. And so I came in today, I would love for you to feel this way as well. So I'd love to talk about this a little bit, have a little discussion here using the chat. But first of all, I just want to share, there is no one size fits all solution to time management, self-management, whatever you want to call it. Right? Everyone is different methods and processes and tools work for different people. And that's why I'd like to start out by opening this up by asking you, what have you found helpful in managing your time? What has helped you be productive on top of your schedule or really focused on your work? because for all of those issues, challenges, those statements I started with, I know there are times, and for many of you often, where you do feel on top of your schedule. I know we've got some, we've got some coaches here. We've got some really strong business owners here, and you've had to have been good with your time to be able to make that success. So I'd love for you to share in the chat what you find works best for you when you want to feel organized and on top of your schedule. All right, Jennifer, thank you for jumping right in there. Having a plan with estimated time increments, yet flexibility. Oh, absolutely. Lynn, calendarizing and unitasking. Yes. Oh, I love that word. I haven't heard that before, as opposed to multitasking. Gina, 30-minute timer. I'm on board for that. Spread out appointments more. Try not to cram everything in each day or week. Yeah, you guys can read these. Keep reading through. These are fabulous. Keep a daily planner. Love it, love it. Delegate and empower. Using a block schedule. Oh, these are so good. Mike, what would you share what you mean by strong pipeline management?
I mean, it entails a lot of things, but really keeping track of your customers. I mean, it depends on the business that you're on, like storefront, whatever, but keeping track of your customers on a daily basis, where each deal is at, keeping notes of all the deals. When you get a lead, keeping track of that lead. And it's really just simple things. It's literally just checking on it daily. And when you get, like, for me, if I talk to 3 or 4 people in a day and I don't notate it, and in a day or two, I'll completely forget I had that conversation.
Yes.
So it allows me to service my clients better because I'm staying on top of it, but also allows me to keep the pipeline moving properly and also not let deals go away.
Oh, this is so good. So helpful. Thank you, Mike. And look at all of these other suggestions. Eric, can you come off mute and tell us a little bit more about saying no? What are you saying no to?
I have trouble saying no, and I need to do it more often because I have the knack of, or the lack of being able to say no, because I get involved with too many things. And then I get into those time crunch. I almost committed to doing a program that I'm not ready to do yet. And so I had to say, not now. And just everybody is in with life. At least some people, they have a hard time saying no, whether it's a volunteer group, whether it's a family matter, whether it's a work associated or a person that's working for you or working with you. There's times in which you need to say no, otherwise you get beyond, you get behind. And it's just more in jest that I said that, but it is true. You have to be able to say no. You have to be able to prioritize, and that's if you don't say no, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So everyone, if you have never saved the chat before, save it here, because look at all of these fabulous suggestions that are here. Some of them listed multiple times. Get some ideas from these. And what I'm going to do is I'd like to share just some suggestions for you also to consider, many of which actually you've touched on here in the chat. Laura, I love that. I'm going to start a business helping people say no. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could have used that about a month ago for sure. So I'm going to go through some suggestions, as I mentioned, some that you've touched on here, others that we haven't. There are a couple in there that I don't think we've touched on yet, and ask you to think about something, just one thing, from whether it's from the chat or what I'm going to be sharing with you, that you're not doing now, that you might just be willing to try to get a little more on top of that time management or self-management. So let me just pull up my screen here real quick. All right. Somebody verbally, can we see that? Yeah, okay, great. All right, so here are some suggestions. I'll go through these relatively quickly because I know we want to get to the networking part of this too, and maybe talk a little bit more about this. So some things to think about. On a weekly basis, and some of you mentioned this, plan your week in advance. right? Don't do it Monday morning. You're already in the week. Things are going to start popping up. If you can do it maybe Friday to wrap up your previous week, or even my Sunday nights, I love to plan for the week in advance. So before it begins, I also suggest look 14 days out instead of just at the upcoming week, because so often if you were to look at your calendar now, you'd see that this coming week is jam-packed with stuff probably already, may have a lot of things on it, but you actually have more control over what's coming up in the following week because you're likely to have more flexibility there, maybe have some white space. So consider that. When you're planning your week, determine your number one priority for the week and schedule it in your calendar. If it's a one-time thing, plan it early in the week so you get it taken care of. If it's an ongoing thing, put it in your calendar as well. I put every day I have a chunk of time for marketing. So if there's something a top priority for you, schedule that out. Jennifer, you mentioned this, and I think some other people, when they talked about flexibility, make sure that there's flex time. Make sure when you're looking at all of those colors on your calendar for all of those appointments, that there's white space in there too for those last minute things that come up. There's always something that happens. So give yourself some of that white space. Many of you mentioned using a block schedule, right? So that's where you are grouping similar tasks together in your calendar. So you have blocks of time, whether it be a couple of hours or a half day, or maybe even a full day. I found the easiest categories to use for blocks are business administration, marketing, and client service. So that usually covers most of what you're doing in your business. As an example, for me, I like to bookend my weeks. So Mondays and Fridays are typically more administrative focused, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are client service for me. And then I have blocks of marketing each day. I have another client who just does income generating work and non-income generating work, right? There's a lot of ways that you can think about using a block schedule. Also consider daily. Starting yourself maybe with an inspiring activity or routine. I know many of you have these. Sometimes it's some kind of meditation, prayer, exercise, journaling, reading, whatever that is that inspires you in the morning to start the day off right. I know many of you are familiar with the term "eat that frog," right? Which people tend to take in different ways. Some people think it's that thing that you just don't want to do, that you haven't wanted to do for the longest time, and you keep putting it off. I like to look at it as the number one priority for the day. Eat the frog. That means take care of it first thing in the morning, even if it is distasteful. And you've gotten that out of the way. And if you don't get anything else done the rest of the day, you can still feel good about that day. All right, we heard multiple people talk about saying no. When you're looking at your schedule, even eliminate from your schedule things that don't fit with your top priorities and values, right? How many people, if you were to look on your calendar for the next few weeks, may have something on there that you know you really don't want to do, or it's really not congruent with your goals? Use a focus tool or method. You all know I don't go anywhere without my handy dandy 30-minute hourglass. That's where I shut everything off and focus entirely on the task at hand, nothing else. And then finally, release perfection. Done is better than perfect any day. So in my groups, we do weekly activity tracking. We give points. And I'm telling you what, people get just as many points for these activities as they do for the marketing activities, because this is what creates that space to take care of your clients and take care of the marketing that goes along with that. So my ask of you is to consider what we've both talked about and what I've shared here, and select one activity, just one activity that you may not currently be doing that you heard suggested this morning, and commit to it for doing this week. And if you're feeling ambitious, do it for the month of May, right? And for a little added accountability, if you'd like to, add that in the chat. So you can take yourself from scattered to streamlined. Thanks so much.
That picture is fantastic.
You know, I have to throw dogs in there. John kicked us off with that. I can't resist.
Who else felt that when she said, put that picture out there? Totally. Oh, thank you,
Hope
Connie.
got some good ideas from that and can incorporate something helpful into your schedules.
Absolutely. So we're going to open it up to questions and comments for a little bit. What kind of questions do you have for Connie on this topic, or tips or tricks that you've used that you'd like to share? Anyone? Oh, you were so
I
thorough.
have a question.
Go ahead, Laura.
Connie, what would you suggest for a person like myself that kind of rebels against a regimented schedule? Like my whole life, I've never been able to do, you see those 8 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. scheduled things. That's never been me.
And you're not alone. I see a couple of other people, at least on this screen, who feel the same way. And that comes back to that no one size fits all, right? So my suggestion would be maybe on the prioritization side of things. At the beginning of the week, just think about, all right, what do I want to make sure I get done this week, regardless of when it gets done? And at the beginning of each day, what's the most important thing that I can get done related to my top priority? And think to yourself, all right, knowing this about yourself, when can you do it? And perhaps focus more on the prioritization rather than on a strict time schedule, because there are plenty of people who have a tough time with that. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Then I think I
Tom,
saw
did you have a
Tom,
question?
you had your hand up.
Yeah, I did. It was just, it's something brand new I stumbled into over the weekend, and I actually used it this morning. And it came from the idea of, we set up so many things that we're going to do. And I'm glad today you said just pick one, because the list always looks like awesome. There's 5 things I need to do. And this person was talking about the importance of just starting. You don't even necessarily even have to finish or do the thing, but begin the thing. And if you do it on a regular basis, you will begin to do more each time. It's like kind of the frog thing. It's you hate it, you hate it, you hate it. But like once you start it, you kind of momentum takes over. So it's just a neat idea for things like exercise or getting up at a particular time. I applied it to that, which was, yeah, maybe I actually didn't roll out of bed and accomplish all the things I was supposed to do, but it got started. And
Love
I know
that.
darn well, if I do that enough days in a row, it'll be normal.
Love it.
So-
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. And I
Yeah.
don't want to cut into our networking time. So maybe what we can do is, even for the first networking question, talk about what is your number one time saving, time management, self-management tool? What do you think?
Sounds great.
All right,
Thank you,
awesome.
Connie, for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. It was great being here with you all.